There's a Twitter account, I think it's called Defiant Elves, and it posts basically liberals and their stance on vaccines before and after, Trump was removed from office. So basically, it's like hundreds of, and it's same story with like every liberal. They all were saying before, like when Trump was in office, they were all saying, I'm not taking no fucking Trump vaccine. I don't trust Trump. He's trying to kill us with this fucking crap. He's like in cahoots with the pharma. We're all gonna die. Like, don't take the Trump vaccine and so on. And then Trump gets removed from office, and Biden becomes president, and these same exact accounts, it just shows side by side, are now saying things like, if you're not vaccinated, you don't have any rights. You're a dog. You're not human. No health care for you. I don't want you receiving any health care. Like, why should I pay taxes so that your unvaccinated ass can get treated like fuck you, die like a dog, and so on. So clearly, these people understand that they're full of shit. I mean, it's not like they actually think, actually incapable of like considering the other side, because clearly, not only are they capable of considering the other side, they have stated the other side perfectly themselves before Trump was removed from office. But now they want people who are not vaccinated to be dehumanized and treated like dogs. So I was wondering, like, well, why is that? Like, where's all this hate coming from? And then I remember, well, what did we, like, as conservatives or whatever, what did we treat liberals as when Trump was in power? We were talking about how we drink liberal tears and all that shit, and we were talking about how transsexuals aren't like really women. There was even talk about how blacks are not human, because the definition of species does not mean that just because you can interbreed that it's automatically same species in nature. There's examples of like animals that can interbreed but are different species and are actually much more similar to each other than blacks and whites, yet they're considered different species, so therefore blacks are not actually human. So basically, we have a long history of like talking about like blacks being not human, trannies not being women, and so on and so on. So like, and now the liberals are saying that we are not human because we're not vaccinated. So why do we do this shit? Like, like, why do we insist on treating each other as not human? Well, because how else, is the divide and conquer strategy is going to work? I mean, like, how can you push people around if they present a unified front against you? Like, if it was actually like the elites versus the people, what the fuck could elites possibly do? Absolutely nothing. But as long as you can divide people precisely in half, 50% on one side and 50% on the other, and each side is convinced that the other side is not human, like, and literally deserves nothing, and only waits for the next election to punish the other side, well, you get what we have. I mean, don't be surprised. I'm like, when you turn on the news and all the liberals demand that you should not be able to have anything at all. Like, your kids should be taken away from you. You should be fired from your job. You should not be allowed to buy food. You should not be able to get health care. And you're listening to this and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with those people, right? But yes, they hate your gods, but guess what? You also hate their gods. I mean, it's not like a one-way street. You both hate each other equally. You both hate each other to the absolute maximum that is possible to hate people whom you never met. And it's all by design. And every time there is like something like that, George Floyd, or Trayvon Martin, or any of that shit, they always pick a case that's going to divide people the most. They never pick a case where one side is obviously guilty, in the sense that people would actually be able to agree on. Like, they always, like, out of all the thousands of murders that go on every year, they always pick one that's going to divide people the most, right? So their job is to divide people, and we are helping them. We're like, why? Because you go on Twitter and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to post to get like the most retweets? Oh, let me post that blacks are not human. That's gonna show everybody, like, I'm the most, the most on our side. Nobody is further to the right than me. I'm as right as it gets, right? And you post the shit. You're not posting that because you necessarily believe it. You're just, that nobody will doubt whose side you're on after you post that shit, right? And the same, liberals do the same shit, right? So they're like, they're thinking like, what's the most outrageous shit I can say about conservatives? Oh, let me write, kill all white men. All men are pigs, and so on and so forth, right? Like, and I don't know what else they're gonna write, but like, the point is that you go there and you think of the most outrageous thing you can say that's gonna be the most offensive and borderline illegal thing to say that you could possibly say and not have your account deleted. And then you say it, and then you gain more followers because everybody's, oh, this guy's on our side, he's definitely not gonna sell us out. Well, what's the result? They actually want this shit. You think they don't want this, but that's exactly what they want. They want the division to grow deeper and deeper and deeper until, they just sit back and watch everybody kill each other, and nobody has time to even touch them. Like, these people in power, they have no fear at all. Like, they're absolutely not concerned with people ever rising up against them because the people are too busy fighting each other.